What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with another fantasy football video, and this is your first waiver wire report of the 2019 fantasy football season. In this video, I will give you all the must-adds going into week 2 of the fantasy season at the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end positions. Before I give you my must-adds for week 2, Gronk spike the like button, subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL videos just like this, and comment below any questions you have for me regarding your waiver wire this week and your must-add player of week number 2. Let's get right into the quarterback position, and the quarterback position overall isn't a position I'm going to be looking at much on the waiver wire this week because there's so many good players to pick up at the wide receiver position specifically and even the running back position. But when looking at the quarterback position, I think there is one guy that stands out to me that is available far too often in a lot of leagues, and that is Josh Allen. Surprisingly, Josh Allen is not owned enough across fantasy football leagues. And the thing about Josh Allen coming into the season that I really liked is he has the capability of any given week to lead the Bills in not only passing yards, but also rushing yards. So if Josh Allen's out there, definitely snag him up. Pick him up, because he will be a nice start for you, specifically this week. Against the Giants, a defense that I ranked coming into this season as the worst in the NFL, they gave up a huge performance to Dak Prescott last week, the best performance Dak's ever had. And Allen, yeah, he did struggle a little bit with some unlucky turnovers last week. That was against a division rival, the Jets. They know him a little bit better, and I do like what I saw from Josh Allen in terms of as a passer in week number 1. He looks like he's taken some strides. He looks like he's gotten a little bit better with Cole Beasley and John Brown around him. I expect a big week from Josh Allen this week. So the stream of the week at the quarterback position, if he is there, is Josh Allen. Now, outside of Josh Allen, the other guy I'm kind of keeping my eye on, but not necessarily putting a waiver claim on, is Jacoby Brissett. I think keep an eye on him for the future of this season because the Colts are a high-scoring offense. They're still a good team, and with the right matchup, Brissett could go off. Plus, he does give you something with his legs as well. So Brissett, maybe not the best matchup this week, but in the future, he could be a nice pickup for you. So just keep your eye on Jacoby Brissett. At the running back position, the number one guy you have to get is Malcolm Brown. I drafted him a ton at the end of drafts, a lot in my fantasy leagues, and I can't believe that he's still out there in most leagues. Malcolm Brown is the primary backup for Todd Gurley. The Todd Gurley that everybody's concerned about his knee. That Todd Gurley. So Malcolm Brown, he's 26% of snaps for the Rams in week number 1 versus Carolina, and he was effective in those snaps. He had 11 carries, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is a pretty good ball carrier. Not going to catch the ball a lot. Gurley will do most of that, maybe a little bit with Henderson. But when you compare Brown snaps to Henderson snaps, Brown had 26%, Henderson had 3%. So I do believe that Brown, even if Gurley is not injured, does have some value within the Rams offense. The number 2 pickup at the running back position is actually 2 guys. Now, Darius Geis is banged up, and I don't know the concern and how long the meniscus is going to keep Darius Geis out, but Adrian Peterson is out there in a lot of leagues, and he's worthy of picking up because Adrian Peterson is going to play the Darius Geis role for the Redskins for the foreseeable future until Darius Geis is okay. But the real guy that I like is Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson had 10 targets versus Philadelphia last week. 10 targets. I believe he had 7 catches. So Thompson, on a team that's not very good, an offense that doesn't have a lot of targets to go to, Thompson could actually be that guy to lead the team in receptions, or at least for a stretch of time lead the team in targets, because they're going to be trailing a lot. That means a lot of dump offs to the running back. Thompson is not a bad guy to add to your roster, specifically when Darius Geis is out. At number 3, I have Raheem Mostert, who, for the San Francisco 49ers, is going to be filling in for Tevin Coleman. Coleman is out probably for a little bit. Mostert can step in there and be just as effective in that role. He has tons of speed. He's very electric in the open field. He can catch passes. He did play a role last season for this team, And he's going to have a timeshare with Matt Breida. It's not going to be just Matt Breida getting all the carries, all the catches. Somebody else needs those touches in Kyle Shanahan's offense, and Raheem is going to get them. He led San Francisco in rushing versus Tampa Bay. He's a nice pickup this week going into week 2. My number 4 guy at running back, this is an outside shot, but Gus Edwards. Now, Edwards had 17 carries, which looks amazing on paper. A lot of them were at the end of the game. But he is mostly the short yardage back, a little bit in the red zone, so he could have some independent value outside of a possible Mark Ingram injury. But within this offense, an offense that loves to run the ball so much, carries need to go somewhere other than Mark Ingram, and Gus Edwards looks to be that guy. Now, he's a stream candidate to me this week because Arizona is not a very good football team. Even though they did tie Detroit, that was kind of very fluky. Baltimore should win this game and should be leading for a while, which means Gus Edwards should get a lot of carries in this game. At the wide receiver position, I start off with Jamison Crowder. I loved Jamison Crowder in fantasy coming into this season, and he proved me right in week 1. He had 14 catches versus the Buffalo Bills. He's going to get a lot of targets. And if you're in a PPR league, pick up Jamison Crowder because he is going to be Darnold's number 1 guy. Darnold loves throwing the ball short. He loves throwing the ball to the slot receiver. Those two things fit Jamison Crowder perfectly. And I believe he has another good matchup this week against the Cleveland Browns. So if for some reason Jamison Crowder is out there, pick him up. At number 2, another guy that shouldn't be out there, but if he is, pick him up. Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup of the Dallas Cowboys is an electric downfield receiver, and he really seems to be coming into his own as the number 2 for Dallas. He had a huge game versus the Giants, and I think he's legit and here to stay. So pick him up this week. He should have another big week versus the Redskins. My number 3 guy at wide receiver is Hardman of the Kansas City Chiefs. Hardman is going to be taking over for Tyreek Hill, and he actually was the guy that they drafted to replace Tyreek Hill. Remember, Tyreek Hill's basically his whole career was up in question with that whole situation this offseason, and Hardman was drafted because of potentially replacing him, but also adding some value at the same sort of position in the same sort of role as Hill in case something happens to Hill. Hardman is extremely fast, like very, very fast, like elite fast. And he can do a lot of what Tyreek Hill can do. Not as well, but he can do it. And they're going to put him in a role to succeed. He's going to get jet sweeps. He's going to be in the backfield like Hill is. He's going to be in the slot like Hill is. And Mahomes will hit him, and he'll be the number 2 receiver in this offense when Hill is out. At number 4, I have Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's Lamar's downfield target right now. This guy is speed, man. Him, Hardman, Gallup, these guys are all fast. And Marquise Brown, he didn't play a lot of snaps, but he was very effective in his snaps. Maybe it's a little bit of a fluke in week 1, but if it's not, I want to have him on my roster. Lamar Jackson, it looks like he's improved as a passer, so I want his downfield target. In an offense that's run, 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 take the downfield shot, Brown is valuable in fantasy. At number 5, I have John Ross, another very fast guy, the guy that holds the record for the 40-yard dash in the NFL. John Ross is basically playing the Brandon Cooks role in this Bengals offense. Of course, remember, Zach Taylor came from the LA Rams, and he brought a similar offense to the Bengals. And John Ross right now is playing the Brandon Cooks role. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a huge game versus Seattle. I expect that to continue. I think for San Francisco, he could have another pretty good game. If he's not on your roster, pick him up because he's going to at least be valuable when A.J. Green is hurt. And even when A.J. Green is there, if he continues to perform, he's going to be on the field a lot as their number 3 target. At number 6, I have Terry McLaurin. Terry is scary because he's fast. Like all these other guys, he has blazing speed. I believe he ran a 4.35 in the 40-yard dash, and he's another downfield target. And as a rookie receiver, he is already basically the number 1 receiver for the Redskins. So whenever you're a number 1 receiver in an offense, it's worthy of picking him up in fantasy. I know it's the Redskins, and even if Keenum goes down, he has great rapport with the rookie Haskins. Haskins was his teammate in college. So no matter the quarterback, he's shown that he has chemistry with both of them. I think that means he's going to be relevant this season, and especially as he continues to grow this year, I think he's going to get better and better and better. So he's worth the pickup. At number 7, Cole Beasley. Beasley is going to be a PPR machine. I know he didn't have a fantastic game in week number 1, but he did have 9 targets. He is going to lead the Bills in receptions. He's a very high floor play, and he's a guy that in any given week you can plug in there and feel like you are at least going to get decent production out of him. So Cole Beasley is a nice add and stash on your bench. At number 8, DK the Freak Metcalf, another speed guy, but you also throw in the size there. DK Metcalf might not get a lot of receptions. He might not get a lot of targets because the Seahawks don't pass the ball very much. But when he gets past the ball, he's going to make a play down the field for a big gain, potentially a touchdown. He's worth the stash, worthy of playing against, pretty good matchups. I don't necessarily want to start him very often, but I do feel like if he continues to get play time in this Seattle offense, he's eventually going to prove that he is good enough to, put up fantasy production. So I would pick him up with the thought that maybe he's going to be good down the road, but I want to wait and see. And at number 9 for the wide receiver position, DJ Chark. Now, Chark lost a lot of steam because Nick Foles went down, but Chark, very much like Metcalf, is going to be a downfield target. He looked very impressive. He has great physical skills. In week number 1, he was awesome. He had 4 catches, 146 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's good after the catch. He's very fast. He's very difficult to take down in the open field. Chark is going to be the downfield target for Jacksonville. Now with Minshew, that changes a little bit because Foles is a much better downfield passer. But if he continues to be the number 2 for Jacksonville, a team that might have to pass a lot this year, that's not a bad ad. At the tight end position, the first one's obvious. It's TJ Hawkinson. This guy is already maybe a top 10 tight end in the NFL. I would say he's already a top 10 tight end in the NFL, maybe a top 7 tight end in the NFL. And the thing about Hawkinson is he's so good in every facet of the game that he does not come off the field. Matt Stafford and him already have a great chemistry. He's already maybe the best target on this offense, and he had an awesome game against the Cardinals. So he is automatic add, and he is probably going to be a season-long starter at the tight end position. At number 2, Darren Waller, another guy I believe that will be a season-long starter at this position. Darren Waller is the number 1 target in Oakland. He had 7 catches for 70 yards versus the Denver Broncos. Tyrell Williams is the other guy they have there, but Waller's going to see a lot of receptions. Derek Carr loves the tight end position. We saw it last year with Jared Cook and how much he targeted Jared Cook, and now Darren Waller is in that same exact role in this offense for John Gruden. He's going to design red zone plays for him. He's going to design on third down plays for him, and Gruden absolutely loves Waller. So does Carr, so that's a great fit, and he's going to be a season-long starter at tight end. So pick him up if you don't already have him on your roster. And then at number 3, the stream at the tight end position would be Jimmy Graham. He had a good game mostly this week against the Bears. He did score a touchdown. He does appear to be the second or the third target in the passing game, which is a positive. And he does play a pretty nice matchup where Austin Hooper did have 9 catches versus the Vikings last week. So I expect Graham to at least have a role this week against them in week number 2. And the defensive streams. Let's start off. Hopefully, they are already on a team right now, but if they aren't, pick them up right now because they might be the best defense in the NFL, and that is the New England Patriots. They play the worst team in football, the Miami Dolphins, so if they're out there for whatever reason, pick them up. Number 2, the Ravens versus the Cardinals. I hope the Ravens are also on a team at this point, but if they aren't, pick them up because they'll have a lot of sacks in this game versus a very lackluster offensive line in Arizona. They should feast on Kyler Murray. Number 3, the Panthers. They might be out there. The Panthers play Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston threw 2 pick sixes, maybe just 1, but yeah, Jameis Winston's going to throw turnovers. And the Panthers will cause them. It's Thursday night at home. Usually that's a big advantage for the home team. Defenses usually feast in that side of things because they have less time to prepare, which means offenses are less creative, more simple, helps the defense. I think Carolina has a big week this week versus Jameis and Tampa Bay. Number 4, Dallas. They play the Washington Redskins. A lot of people weren't taking Dallas very high in fantasy drafts for whatever reason. So if they're out there, pick them up. They play Washington, and Washington did perform well versus Philadelphia's defense this week, but Dallas's defense is on a different level. It's very, very good, and I expect it to play very well against the Redskins. And number 5, the Bills. The Bills have a very good defense. I mean, very good. Now, they play the Patriots in a couple weeks, so you'll have to drop them, so this is more of a stream. But if the Bills are out there, pick them up, because they play the Giants this week. Eli's going to throw you an interception. They are not going to allow very many points this week, so I would pick up the Bills. Now, those are my defenses to own this week. There are not many great matchups outside of these 4 defenses out there. One defense that I would take a look at that I think is interesting is Houston, because they play Jacksonville as well. Gardner Minshew is going to be the quarterback. I don't think Houston's defense is very good, so you're only starting them for this week, but it would be interesting nonetheless. And then the other one is the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are a very, very good defense. They don't have the greatest matchup with Indianapolis, but they're just such a talented unit that they're worthy of picking up as well if they are out there. So those are my waiver wire priorities. Those are my must-adds for week number 2 of fantasy football. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, Gronk spike the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more NFL fantasy football videos just like this. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Peace out.